Ah, I'm muted. I'm muted. Oh my goodness. Thank you all for letting me know. My goodness, I was just going to keep on talking. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about it's third Thursday. That is Real Estate Investing 101. I'm super, super excited to be here with you today. Now, look, I'm just going to tell everybody out here, I'm going to call it like it is and let you looks a lot better in person than it does on my screen. In fact, anybody who's taken my speaker training, you know how they say don't wear animal prints because of the refresh rate? Well, you also got to check your clothes, but I'm not taking it off because after this, me and my husband are going to be watching a game, a very important game. Some of y'all going to be watching that too. He's already started, I'm sure. But today I'm going to talk to you about real estate investing. And so it's one of my favorite things to teach. And we do every third Thursday, we do real estate investing. So for those of you who are new to me and my body of work, we started building wealth together 8 years ago in Kingstown, Keller Williams, and it's been going strong ever since. And so what we do is every Thursday night we have a topic. So I'm going to just talk to you a little bit more. Hey, Dennis, I'm so glad to see you here today. We're going to talk to you a little bit about what building wealth together is, who I am for those of you who are new to me, and then also we're going to talk about real estate in general, and then we're going to dig into self-directed IRAs. Okay, so just a few admin notes before we begin. All right, just a few admin notes. Wait, let me see if you can see that there. There we go. Okay, so just a few admin notes before we begin. Couple things that you might want to ask questions. I encourage you to ask your questions in the chat because that's what I'm looking at as we go on. And if I see a question pop up, then I'll be able to end my thought. I'm still going to end my thought and then I'll get to your question. What I'm teaching to what you need and what's going to help you grow in your business and your family legacy. All right. Now, if you're listening on freeconferencecall.com, I'm so glad you're on today. And I don't know why I'm looking down at the phone. It's not like they can see me looking down, right? But if you are listening on freeconferencecall.com, let me let you know that the way you ask a question is to do *61. And I've got a dashboard here. It shows me all the people who are on. Thank you for being here. And when you dial *6, and on most carriers, it's going to also ask you to dial 1, it's going to put you in the queue. It's going to raise a little hand, and that way I'll know.
Session has started.
I better start the Q&A session so it works. That way I'll know that you have a question, okay? Finally, you can use an anonymous question by askjjc.com. Now, what I'm hoping we're going to get to, I'm trying to work this out. We're going to see how it works, but I'm hoping what we're going to get to is that pretty soon I'm going to be able to post the link and you'll be able to come on camera with me. In order for us to do that, though, I gotta learn how to not use so many words to teach this. So if y'all, so you know how everybody has you always have higher goals, right? There's always higher heights and deeper depths. Well, that's one of my goals that I'm working on so that we can invite people on and still stay in our time slot. Okay, but some administrative notes. That's how you ask a question. I encourage you to ask questions because I like talking. I'll talk all day, but I don't want to talk all day if it doesn't bless you, doesn't help you grow, doesn't help you make more money, keep more of what you earned, and then grow what you've earned into something that earns money for you. All right. So that's that. Now, this is a fundraiser. Our real estate investing that is not the next slide. Oops, there we go. Our real estate investing 101 is a fundraiser. Okay, so I'm giving you free content. I am asking you that as you enjoy this free content and as you get the aha moments about how you can take charge of your financial legacy using my free content, that you would in turn help me encourage young people by sending in a donation. I currently run Global Youth Initiative in 2 places. I run it in Erath County, Texas, and I also run it in the Arklatex, so mainly in the Shreveport area of Louisiana. And so what we do in Global Youth Initiative is we provide personality, confidence building kind of education. We help them with college career prep. We help them identify areas that they are strong in. So maybe, a lot of times I get kids who grow up in these families families where they are like the oddball. They feel like a square peg trying to fit into a round hole, and everybody else in their family fits neatly, but they just don't seem to fit, and they don't understand what life holds for them in the future. But when we give them this world-class education based on the work of John Maxwell and sponsored by the John Maxwell team, we're able to create in them a hope that, hey, I have this talent. I have this strength. And so we really, really appreciate any donation of any size. And you can, oops, I don't know what I just did there. You can make that donation with the, I'll put this down here at the bottom. Okay, good. You can make that donation at paypal.me/Queen of Cashflow or Cash App Queen of Cashflow. Now, look, we're here to talk about real estate. Well, let me tell you something about real estate. Let me tell you something about any kind of wealth building class in general. Okay, in any kind of wealth building class, you're gonna have, out of every 100 people that show up, you're gonna have 95 people no, let's not even. So you're always going to have a handful of naysayers. You're always going to have a handful of people that were drugged there by their spouse. But of the people that want to be there, about every 100 people that want to be there, 95 of them are going to leave that class and do nothing with the content. 95% of them are going to leave that hotel room and do nothing with the content. They're going to leave this webinar and do nothing with the content. Okay? It's not about the content so much as it about your willingness to take charge of your life and your willingness to take action in your life and do the things that you know you got to do. You know, Einstein said you cannot solve today's problems with the same level of thinking that created them. And so we need that higher level of thinking. We need that higher level of action. We need to move away from operating in fear and scarcity and start operating out of abundance so that then we can move forward. Well, one of the ways that you release fear is to step out on faith and sow into somebody who's doing something that your faith agrees with. And so whether it's $1 tonight, whether it's $5, $10, you send that PayPal or Cash App. I promise you, and I'm not just saying this because I need $1 for a global youth initiative. Although if 1,000 of you give me $1, that's $1,000. The reason I'm saying it is not because I need your dollar and not because I want your dollar, but because there's an energetic shift that happens. See, when you go in to watch this content tonight, and I talk to you about how to earn tax-free money through your self-directed IRA, when I talk to you about how to build wealth and never have to pay tax on it again through a self-directed IRA, 95% of you are going to be like, oh, this is great, this is great, this is great. Then you're going to go watch the game and your team is going to lose because my husband's team is going to win. And then you're going to be like, oh, tomorrow, and you're going to forget everything that we've talked about. I don't want you to be one of the 95 today. I want you to be part of the 5% that say, you know what, I'm going to do something with this. But even with the 5% that said they're going to do something with this, and let me tell you, I've been part of this group, okay? There's 4 of those, 4%. We're going to take the notes. They're going to have the notes. They're going to create the plans. Look, they're going to do the mind map. They're going to have it all together. They're going to have it all together. And you know what's going to happen? It's going to get hard. And life gets hard. John Maxwell said that everything you want out of life is uphill. And I find that a good, very, very good book says that we have to diligently seek the Lord. Now, out of everything in life, the one thing you don't have to pay for is faith, right? But we, even with faith, have to be diligent in how we seek it. And so if I have to be diligent in something that costs me nothing, you better believe we got to be diligent about building wealth. And we got to be diligent and move forward and put one foot in front of the other and take one action in front of the other. And if you're stuck in your business today, if you're stuck in your personal growth today, if you're stuck in what you're doing today, take an energetic step forward. And that energetic step forward might just be today sowing into my global youth initiative that I'm running in Erath County and the Arklatex. It may be something completely else. It may be setting your alarm. Wait, not setting your alarm. It may be actually getting up when the alarm says go off. I had somebody, I was at a coaching call today, and they were like, yeah, I've been telling myself a long time I'm going to get up early and do it. And today I finally did. So let's hope tomorrow. And I thought to myself, what a victory that is. How many of us, and I'm going to get to this tax-free money in a second. We're going to talk about these self-directed IRAs in a second, but you need this foundation so that you'll actually become the 1% that's actually going to go out there, implement these things, and make something happen for your life. And 10 years from now, 7 years from now, 20 years from now, you're going to look back and you're going to be like, wow, I am glad I planted that tree. You know, they say the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, and the second best time is today. All right. So this person was like, wow, I got up early, I got up at 4 and I did all these things, and the house was so quiet and I got so much done. And I was like, woo, praise the Lord. I'm so happy for her. But then I thought about myself, how many times have we promised ourselves we're gonna get up, but we hit snooze every time? How many times have we promised ourselves we're going to do this and do this and do that, and we roll over, or it's just too hard, or we stop at the first block? And I'm not saying you a quitter. I'm not saying that you give up. You try hard, but you try, and right as you're about to reach that crest and hit the pinnacle and really start being able to coast, this block all the way here, you're 95% there, and then it's just one more thing, and that's a straw that breaks the camel's back. Well, I'm telling you to get stronger today. And in order to get stronger today, sometimes we got to take an energetic step forward. So I'm encouraging you to evaluate your life and decide where it is that you need to make a step forward. And I know for me, one of my strongholds was I didn't pay for nothing. I didn't pay for the education that got me out of $800,000 of debt. Now, I paid for the education to enhance those skills and get them better. I went to the libraries, I went to free conferences, I did all this stuff, right? And then so for me, I didn't want to pay for nothing because I didn't need to pay you for nothing. I didn't need to support nothing. But there was a shift when I began to put my money where my mouth is. And so I'm encouraging you today to look at where you're putting your money, where your mouth is, whether your calendar is reflecting what you say is a priority, and whether or not you yourself are aligned energetically with what you want other people to do. Ain't nobody was going to pay me no money to do what I do when I refuse to pay somebody else. Woo! Now that's a word right there. Now that's not a spiritual word. Although the spiritual principle is, well, what is that? Muzzle not the ox that treaded out the cord, right? So if somebody's blessing you, there's another scripture. If somebody's blessing you in the spiritual, you're supposed to bless them in the natural. I'm not asking you to bless me today. I am going to bless you though. I'm going to bless you in the natural. So maybe you can bless me in the spiritual and pray for me. I can't fix that up, can I? Look, y'all, look, I'm awesome, but I'm not perfect. I was trying to fix that up because it was flowing so well. Wasn't that flowing well? Y'all drop me some hearts or likes or loves or something if that was flowing so well before I messed that up. Okay. But really seriously though, you guys are getting a lot out of this. I've had people sending me texts and things about how much you're getting out of this. Drop us a little something, even if it's $1. If you use friends and family, we'll get the whole $1 for Global Youth Initiative. All right. So this is our fundraiser. I just want to make sure again that you know that. All right. So now another announcement. If you haven't been part of these Third Thursday Real Estate Investing 101 classes, then you wouldn't know how we're structuring the business. But most real estate investing courses, most of them, whether it's in person or online, there's a strategy and an outline. Give you a little bit, give you something that you can implement that night. And then if you want to dig deeper, give you an opportunity at the end to dig deeper. It usually requires significantly more investment, but the benefit is you get the instructor who's helping to hold your hand and really walk you through a lot of these processes. Okay. So today I am not going to dig into the deeper class on how to maximize self-directed IRAs. I'm going to give you a 101 level version of this education. There are some instances, so if you have $2 million more of net worth, or if you have other things that are going on in your life where once your self-directed IRA grows to a certain point, there's nuances. And my advanced class would teach you the nuances, but I'm not offering that class right now because right now I'm focusing on learning my new neighborhood and how they do real estate here and what are the different nuances. And so those of you who are members of my real estate investment group, you probably saw that I posted, we're going to do a discussion on my courthouse. So I went down to the courthouse. They had both foreclosure sales as well as tax sales on the same day. So I was able to get a good education of how my local county does it and who the key investors are, y'all. All right. And so because of all that learning, I'm not offering those deeper classes. So if you are an advanced investor today, I encourage you to stay on because this is a fabulous topic. And I would love to get your take on how you view self-directed IRAs. But I am not going to dig deep into those topics today. And I'm not going to offer my traditional discount on the follow-on class, which is what I normally would do. The class is like $5,000. I normally would offer it for like 25 or 29. Okay. We're not doing that today. All right. Okay, so if you want to learn more, I have listed here some personally vetted RIAs that you can associate with, RIAs being a real estate investment group. If you are in Northern Virginia, I love Tammy Phelps, Capital City RIA. If you are in the DC or the Maryland side, more like Prince George's County, you've got DC RIA with Sherman Ragland. If you are in the Fort Worth area, West DFW RIA with Tim Cook. If you are in Baltimore City, there's a couple of good ones. The one that I'm still a member with and the one that helped walk me through my very first deal that I did all on my own and classes that I learned from, just amazing group that I'm still a member of, is Maria. I also know that BWI is a good group. Unfortunately, I know they're a good group. I've attended a couple times, but I don't have any contact. But if you talk to Beth, if you talk to Mary Jo Whalen, if you talk to Alan Shanker from Maria, and you let them know that JJ sent you, all of these people will take good care of you. If you're out in Shreveport, there's two main groups that I used to associate with. One is RE360, and the other one is Sabria, the Shreveport Bossier Real Estate Investment Association. Okay, so let them know that I sent you. Let them know that I remember them and I appreciate them and that I give them some love. All right. Let's see. Oh yeah. Again, it's a fundraiser. PayPal me, y'all. Okay. So real quick, if you're new to us, here's what building wealth together is and isn't. Okay. We are not get rich quick. You are not going to find me flashing, although I have some money on this slide. You are not going to find me flashing all these dollars, and we're talking about making it rain and the big red car and the yacht that you might one day have and the private airplane and all that stuff. Like, that's not what this group is about. I believe that anybody who desires and wants those things can attain them. However, this is not that kind of a group. There are other groups that will help you walk in that energy if that's okay. What I'm looking at as a financial planner who has a lot of people come to me who've been in the groups with the big red cars and the big yachts and the private jets and all the money flying everywhere and saying, woo, look what you can do. They come to me broke. They come to me in extreme debt from those groups. And so what do? Is I help people piece their life back together. And what I would do is what John Maxwell said is put the cookies on the bottom shelf. So what I'm giving you are strategies that work across the board and for everybody. Okay. So whereas this one might lead to a yacht over here, and this one might lead to the sports car or the Lamborghini or the Bugatti, I think is what my son talks about now over here. I'm giving you what I know works for everybody who's seeking financial independence. Okay. So there's a lot of legit ways to get rich. This group, we look at investment strategies that do not incur you taking on any debt. All right. And that's because I am dedicated to empowering people to achieve their goals while improving their lives. I'm not here to help you chase after a pipe dream or work on something that only works for 2 or 3% of the population who try it. Okay, so we offer financial investment and entrepreneurial education, and we help you work with your personality. Let me say that again. Okay, when you do one-on-one coaching with me, I'm not putting you in a stock financial plan that everybody else gets. We're looking at what your personality is and who you want to be in the future, what your risk tolerance is. Like, we're really making something that's customized for you and your family's future legacy. All right. Woo. I'm getting excited talking about it. I hope you're getting excited hearing about it. Like, oh, I want that, JJ. Okay, so here's the scheduled events. Today is 16th June. We're going to be talking about self-directed IRAs. Self-directed IRAs is not a form of real estate, but people use self-directed IRAs in order to purchase real estate or participate in real estate deals. And so it's a fantastic way to do your investing tax-free. I think I kind of talked a little bit about who I am, but just so that you know, I've been a financial coach since 1998. Couldn't afford Larry Burkett's class, and he said, I will give it to you free, $8 cassette class. Y'all, I'm so embarrassed. I couldn't afford this class. And he said, I'll give it to you for free as long as he knows how to do it. So that's when I started doing that. Been a real estate investor ever since bought first house in 99. First house ever bought, first house I ever lived in. And my first real job in the Air Force, and 2 double income, no kids. I don't even know if that's an acronym anymore, but that was what it was back then. We were dinks back then, and we had money to spare. And because we had money to spare, not only did we buy our own house, we bought a bunch of other houses, and we followed what everybody on late night TV teaches: using other people's money, leveraging debt, and stringing, daisy chaining debt, and deposits, and refinances, and all the stuff that you find just about in every real estate class and on the in the nation. Okay, just about. Not mine. Because when the market crashed, y'all remember the market crashed about 15 years ago, 12 years ago. The market crashed hard, and we ended up with $845,000 of debt, which all transferred to me during the divorce. And so it took a lot of effort to overcome that. And I'm currently retired from the Air Force, and I'm financially secure. Still climbing the financial ladder to get where I really want to go, but we're financially secure, and I am now a very happy stay-at-home mom. And so for me, I want others, especially women, to have that kind of financial freedom, to live their fullest lives and highest calling through financial and investment education. Let me tell you something. Money isn't the only thing. And as a woman of faith, I know that money isn't everything. However, having money makes a lot of things easier. Having money makes it easier to take care of your children. Having money makes it easier for you to do the work that you're called to do. Having money makes it easier to get good quality health care. Having money makes a lot of things easier in life. And while I don't chase after money, and I realize that I can't take my treasure into heaven, if the Lord has called me to change communities, I acknowledge that part of changing communities requires money. Whether the money is put in my hands, or whether the money flows to me and from me from others, or whether others are resourced and they come into my lives to apply the money to the situation that the Lord has for me to affect, any of those things are fine with me. I'm perfectly fine being the conduit, but I am never going to, for a minute, deny that it takes money to do things in this world. And people say, well, I don't need any money for this, and I don't need any money for that, and I don't need to think about money, and I don't need to think about strategic planning of my money. The Lord will keep you. I just don't want the Lord to keep me eating dog food in a shack out in the forest. That's not the life I want. That's not the life I want for you. And unless the Lord calls me to that, then I'm not going to choose that. I was in Tampa years ago, and I was in a Whole Foods, which is always was a treat back then because it was so expensive. Like Clark Howard calls it whole paycheck. And I'm in Whole Foods, and I'm looking to see what I'm going to get from their thing, because their food is so healthy. And there was this older couple, very gaunt, very tiny, and they were sampling the soups. And the man was bragging about how they own their trailer, and they was down in Florida. Now they own their trailer, and he was just so proud of how they lived self-sufficient, and they didn't have jobs, and they just went where they wanted to go. And I saw the look on the wife's face. And as they continued to sample, I realized that what they were doing what me and my kids used to do when I was 800,000. Well, I only had the one kid at the time. They were doing what me and my son used to do when I was $800,000 in debt. They were eating their meal from the free samples. And I said to myself in that instant, I will never be the old person eating my meals as free samples, hoping that the store proprietor doesn't kick me out before my belly is full. And I sure as anything will not be the one, like this husband had done, to drag a spouse or a child into that situation, which is what he had done to his wife. And I made up my mind in that moment that unless the Lord specifically required it of me, I was going to do what it took to make sure I was never in that situation. Oh, y'all, I'm getting fired up. All right, let's get back to these self-directed IRAs. All right. Okay. So now you know part of why I'm so passionate about what I do. This is the other reason I'm so passionate about what I do. These are my two boys. This big one you see over here, he bore the brunt. Oop, wrong one. He bore the brunt of everything that I went through when we first got the divorce. He was 3 years old. And when his father first took off, and we weren't divorced yet, he was 2. And I ended up moving into this lady's in DC. I moved into this lady's moldy basement apartment. I couldn't even I couldn't even afford a place for enough room for him to have his own bed. That's how bad it was. And there's so many nights that me and this child, this young man now, spent the night sleeping in a rest stop or sleeping in a Walmart parking lot because I didn't have money for a place to stay. And for a long time, this was this child right here. And when his brother came along, him as well, after I remarried, um, these boys were what I was doing to build a financial legacy. Now, my financial legacy, as far as they're concerned, is secure. If they go into poverty, that's on them. That is nothing to do with me. I have put things in place to make sure that they're taken care of if they manage it well. And I have educated even the little one. He sat through enough of these classes, he could practically teach them, just like his brother used to could. There's no reason on God's green earth that these boys should ever be in poverty unless they choose it or unless the Lord called it into a season of poverty, right? So as I prayed about that, the new vision is changing communities. Don't know, this is my house in Baltimore over here behind the trees. You'd think I'd have a better picture of it, but I don't. I guess I wasn't too interested in taking pictures of it at the time. Look, and I haven't been back. I haven't been back since I have not been back to that neighborhood in so long, but that's still my house. It's rented out by a wonderful woman, and I do my best to take as good care of her as I can, considering the circumstances. But this is my goal. Look at how many boarded up. Let me make that bigger. Look at how many boarded up. Oh, that's not much bigger. Look at how many boarded up houses there are there. My vision is to change communities, and it starts with changing us. My vision is to change communities, and it starts with us having enough money, having enough resources to get in there and do something about it before somebody else gets in there and does something about it that doesn't care about the neighborhood, doesn't care about the block, doesn't care about the people. All right. So that's why I do what I do. Okay. So we're talking about self-directed IRAs today. And just to kind of give you an overview of why I love real estate so much, I like to say that there are 20 plus ways to profit. I know some people teach that there's 100 plus ways to invest in real estate. I actually had one book called 1,001 Ways to Profit from Real Estate, and they were all variations of the same thing. So like bird dogging foreclosures, bird dogging retail, bird dogging apartments. I was like, okay. And then there's some that say that you could really combine some of these, but these are what I call the 20 plus ways to profit from real estate investing. And the reason I like to show you this is because there's an awful lot of real estate investing that you can see highlighted in blue. Now, if you're on free conference call, you cannot see this, but I would encourage you to go to my Facebook page so you can actually see this, or go to dartria.com where you can buy the classes. All right. You can go and see all of the ones that I've shaded in blue, such as bird dogging and wholesaling, tax liens, commercials. These are things that you can profit from, even if you never buy the actual property. Okay. And then the next slide has a selection highlighted in green: bird dogging, wholesaling, lease to own, deal making, foreclosure consulting, subject to being a VA or ancillary services that you can profit even if you don't have any money to get started. Now, that's the beautiful thing about real estate, right? Like, to me, that's the beautiful thing. How many times has somebody come to you and said, "Oh, I can help you be financially independent. You just need $1,000 to sign up for my business opportunity." And you're like, if I had $1,000, I wouldn't need your business opportunity. So what I like about this is you can profit from all of these methods even if you don't have money to start a business with. Now, it helps to start a business, and I encourage you to take your first paycheck and actually start a legitimate business. You do a wholesaling deal or a bird dogging deal. Take that $1,000, take that $5,000, that $10,000, go form your LLC and all that stuff, right? Like, I encourage that, but you could legit get started without having money. All right. So these are the ways to profit. Now, why am I bringing up self-directed IRAs? Okay. Self-directed IRAs are not on this list. They're not a way to buy real estate, but what they are is a vehicle in which you buy real estate that allows you to profit without tax. Okay. So now we're going to talk about our main topic of discussion, and that is self-directed IRAs. Let me start off with a little bit of data about what an IRA is in the first place, okay? The IRA in the first place is a tax code manufactured thing. It's an individual retirement arrangement, and what it is a tax favored personal savings arrangement for your retirement. So the government, and the funny thing is the government creates the tax codes based on how they think they can get money in the short term. Okay, and we can walk through. It's fascinating. When I took finance, and he walked us through all of the tax code things and how these laws came to be. It was just fascinating. It's like, wow, the government is really good at getting the money they need and selling us something that we think is a great idea, may or may not be a great idea, but they gonna get the money they need. Okay, so there's different kinds of IRAs, and there's traditional Roth, and I'm going to talk about some of them, not all of them, because there's a lot. I'm going to talk about some of them in the next couple of slides. And basically, these are special accounts that allow you to invest for your retirement. You can set them up with a bank. You can even do it through your insurance company, other financial institutions like, investment houses and things like that. Okay. So as we think about IRA, I want you to think about this quote from John Maxwell. In fact, if you're taking notes, I would write this one down. And if you are a sticky note, in fact, maybe I should make this next week's affirmation, right? Maybe I should make this next week's affirmation. Pay now, play later. Play now, pay later. And the premise of this quote is, if you just have fun and you're not strategic about what you're doing now, you're gonna pay for that later on when you don't have the option to play around and have fun. But if you will plan now and you will pay the toll in your blood, sweat, and tears and your strategic planning and telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it's spent, then later on you will have the abundance. Well, a self-directed IRA is very similar. You've got two types. One's the pay now and play later, and one's the play now and pay later. Okay, so let me talk about first the traditional IRA. That's the play now. The traditional IRA, you put your money into it a lot of times through work. You get a tax benefit now, but later on you got to pay tax on that. Okay, so depending on a lot of factors, you may be able to get a tax credit, deductions, things like that, and your earnings aren't taxed until you take them out. Okay, there's requirements for there's requirements for what you can put in, and there's requirements for when you have to take stuff out. Okay, and when you die, anything that's left in that account is paid toward your beneficiaries, which this is a if you've been sitting in these sales presentations about tax-free loans from the insurance companies, there's a lot of different products out there that are really great for different price points. If you've got a couple $1,000,000, I can show you how to take some of those esoteric insurance products and really transform that into multi-million-dollars for your estate. However, for most middle-class Americans, the amount that we would get at the end negates the amount of savings that we would have throughout the lifetime. Okay, so you just want to be aware of that, and you want to sit down with someone who is your fiduciary, which means they got your financial back. Okay, when you sit down with someone like me as a financial planner, I am a fiduciary. I am a fee-only fiduciary financial planner, which means when you come to me, all of the advice I give you is going to be based on what's best for you. I don't get paid any commission from insurance products or from financial products or from investment products. I don't get any of that. All I get paid is by you to be your advocate, to be on your court, to be there as somebody who's advising you, like to be your own part of your own personal corporate board of advisors, right? So that's so because of that, because there are so many other people that get paid through the commissions they make on the products, there are a lot of times where they will sell you into a product that isn't necessarily good to you, good for you, good for your long-term goals, but it puts money in their pocket right now. So I really do encourage you, when you're trying to evaluate what to do, make sure you're working with a fee-only fiduciary financial planner. All right. Then there's the Roth IRA. This is a really interesting one because the government needed money. Oh, they needed money. And Senator Roth, and I forget who else was in it. There was somebody else. I forget who else was in it. But you can go to irs.gov and you can learn all about it. What they decided was, we need an infusion of money. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to tell people if they invest in this account, they have to pay their taxes today, but they won't have to pay it on the earnings. So the way a Roth IRA works is you put your money in today. You have to pay taxes on it, But then later on, when you earn something with that money, you don't have to pay any taxes on the earnings. Okay. So the traditional, you get a tax break now. Ooh, I just saw something. Okay, never mind. I'll address it when I get to that slide. The traditional one, you put your money in now, you get a tax break now, you got to pay taxes later. The Roth, you put your money in now, you pay your taxes now, you get a tax break later. Okay. These numbers are old. So I can look that up for you if you're interested, but you're going to want to check with whoever you're setting up your account with for the right actual numbers. Those numbers are old, and I'm not going to try to use my memory after I've been teaching all day. All right. So there's a couple of different things. Okay. So there's another, here's a traditional account you may have heard of. It's called a SEP, a simplified employee pension. Okay. This is one where you can really maximize your contributions for the business. So if you have a business and your business is making money, your business can put in 25% of what you earn in that business up to 56. Oh, that number's old too. I'm sorry, y'all. Okay, let's just scrap the numbers and talk about concepts today. All right, let's just talk about concepts. Okay, so your business can put in a certain amount, but it is a traditional IRA, and that's not exactly what I'm going to be talking to you about today. Because the traditional IRA, well, it's great for a short-term break. It doesn't help you when it comes to earning tax-free money. So if you're going to make millions in real estate deals, well, you don't want to pay taxes on millions later, right? Okay. So before I get to talking about that, let me answer a question that comes up a lot, and that is, what about the 401k? So if I'm going to talk to you about a self-directed IRA, what I'm not saying is go to work right now and close out your 401k and don't contribute anymore. I want you to get your free money. All right. Because a lot of times the 401k the 401ks will have that employer match. They do have tax advantages. They're not an IRA, but they're a different type of plan. It's a different type of code. Okay. It's a different section of the tax code. All right. So each of these things, like if you've got a 403B, or if you've got a 401k, or if you've got all these different things, like those are the sections of the code and stuff that it comes from, right? I know I'm using such technical terms today and stuff. All right. So you want to get your free money, but if you have the opportunity to include a Roth IRA in your investment, that's what you want to start building up. Okay. Yay. This is so much fun. Now, I'm talking about IRA, individual retirement arrangement. So there's your typical ones where you contract with a company, they manage it. So you're sending every month to USAA, you're sending it every month to Fidelity, whoever it is, they're managing it. Vanguard, they're managing it. Okay. They're managing it. A self-directed IRA is where you manage it. So I am putting this money tax sheltered if I use a traditional self-directed IRA, or I'm putting this money with tax-free earnings if self-directed IRA. But if it's in a self-directed IRA, now I'm responsible for managing it. Okay. And there's all kinds of great things that you can invest your funds in when it's in a self-directed IRA. You can anything that you can invest in the regular stuff like stocks and bonds and things like that. You can invest in real estate. You can invest in debt, businesses, precious metals. Like you can be a venture capitalist with the money in your self-directed IRA. And if you are a venture capitalist and you fund this company that just takes off, all of your earnings, if it's in a Roth, all your earnings are tax-free. Now, again, there are some complexities once you get above a couple $1 million. Okay, so that's a more advanced topic. Today is self-directed IRA 101. But trust me, for most of you who are watching me right now, come on, you could use $1 million of tax-free money, couldn't you? Couldn't you? I know you could. Come on, I know I could. It'll be there. It'll be there. All right. So here's some interesting things about the self-directed IRA. You can invest in a whole lot of stuff. You can't invest in gambling. There's a very short list of what you can't invest in. You can go out to irs.gov and you can find out the list of things you can't invest in. You can't invest in gambling. You can't invest in drugs, right? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm chuckling because when I went for my education, for my financial planner education, we spent a significant amount of time on how do you help drug dealers file their taxes so that they don't get hit for tax fraud. And I'm like, you mean we have to log cost of goods sold? I was just like, okay, I'm not a CPA, but I have a really good CPA if y'all need one. Okay. Uh, so when you have a self-directed IRA, you can put that in almost anything you want to invest in, but the deals must be what they call arm's length. And what that means is it can't be your parents, can't be your kids, can't be your brother and sister. Okay. Now, your kid can have a self-directed IRA, and your self-directed IRA can partner with the kid's self-directed IRA. But you, as the with your self-directed IRA, you cannot pay your kid to do work. You, as a self-directed IRA, you cannot pay yourself to do work on it. You cannot buy your husband. You cannot buy your parents' home with it. The deals have to be at arm's length. Okay. And so even with things that might appear to be arm's length, you may want to get some counsel before you execute a deal to make sure that you're not going to get in trouble with the tax man later on. Okay. The other thing is that we have to understand is a lot of people talk about all these things that they're doing in real estate. And I think it's hilarious. Like, I get all these people that come to me and they're like, yeah, you know what? I really need some money. And I heard you had this great, tax certificate deal. And I did just talk about the tax certificate deal last month that when we did tax certificates. And I'm like, yeah, I did have a great, but guess what? All that money is in my self-directed IRA. And even though I am a lot older than I look, I'm not old enough to access it yet. And I'm not accessing it for you. You're going to have to take these principles and earn your own money. Right. And so you can take out, if you have a self-directed IRA, there's different limits and things that what you can take out and put in. So if you have a Roth, you can take out the money you already put in without penalty. But I honestly didn't put a whole lot in. Most of the money that's in there is money that's from deal to deal to deal, right? So you want to understand that when you're doing something like this, you may be building an empire, but it's not supposed to be for your benefit just yet. All right. And the last gotcha, this is the biggest one. Like, if you take nothing away from self-directed IRAs, because it's a hot topic right now. A lot of people are talking about, build up your self-directed IRA, and then you can be the hard money lender, and then you can renovate properties with it, and it's tax-free profit. Yes, yes, yes to all of that. But if you aren't making money in a self-directed IRA, then you are losing money. And when I first set up my self-directed IRA, I was trying to get it ready just in case I was going to do a deal. I had just bought that house in Baltimore. And once I rented it out, I really regretted not buying it in a self-directed IRA. But like I said, that was my house. I was buying it so that I would have a place to live. I didn't live there. By the time we got it renovated, I ended up, life became better, and I didn't live there. As long as I had wanted to live there. But the thing is, the property has made so much money over the years that I wished that I would have put it in a self-directed IRA. But sometimes you got competing priorities. And for me, it was important to have a place to live. However many times a man has pulled the rug out from under me and left me sleeping in my car instead of in a house that I thought was mine, whether it was a husband, my ex-husband, whether it was landlords. And military people find this happen all the time because different states have different rules. And in many states, your landlord can sell that house right out from under you, and you have no recourse. And if you can't, and the hardest category of people to find a place to live is people who need to find a place to live tonight, because most of the time they've been evicted, right? And nobody wants to take that on. So I needed a place, y'all. But I'm sorry, that was a little TMI there. But the thing is I set up the self-directed IRA, and what I did was I split my existing IRA at the time. So half of it went to self-directed, the other half of it was just continuing to be invested by USAA or whoever had it at the time. Wouldn't you know that this year goes by, and 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 I haven't done a thing with it. And that USA account had grown. Roth, so it was tax-free, but my self-directed IRA just sat there, pitiful, with nothing happening in it. because I wasn't doing anything. So if you're going to open up one of these, I encourage you to open it up. I encourage you to put money into it while you're earning, because you have to have earned income. I encourage you to put money into it, but don't think that just because you put money into it, that money's going to blossom and grow like it does when you do an IRA through the bank or when you do a 401k through your job. That money's not going to grow until you massage it, manage it, and make something happen. All right. All right. So there are some good companies out there. These are the two that I've heard the most about. One is Equity Trust. That's the company that I have my self-directed IRA with. And if you're interested in setting that up, be sure you email me, because you want to get the waive of your $50 setup fee. And you can do that when an existing member refers you. I don't get any bennies for it. Okay. I just get some street cred. All right. But look, I love street cred. You know, when we stop chasing after, when we stop, what does that phrase go? You're stepping over dollars to pick up pennies. When we stop leaving money on the table because we don't see the immediate value, then we begin to open up strategic value. And for me, strategic value is, I know they're not going to pay me anything for referring you. You're going to get a $50 break. I ought to charge you $25 for the benefit of getting that $50 break. Now, I'm not going to do that, but I'm just saying. But what some of us do is some of us would say, well, they're not paying me, I ain't going to bother. Well, I'm going to bother because the more goodwill I build with them, every time I go to the in-person conferences or that they host them all over the world, all over the nation. You know, every time I go and I get to know people more, and they remember me, in the street cred, it opens up doors. So remember early on, hold on. Remember early on when I was talking about energetically, a lot of us are not moving forward in our businesses because we have closed ourselves off to abundance. We say we want abundance. We do the affirmations. We write in our journals. We create the vision boards, and we like, I'm going to be luxurious, and we paint everything gold. And when we get a speaking engagement, we only get black cars so we can look cool. And they got to fly us first class and all the things, right? But sometimes we can be doing the things, but inside we are still operating from scarcity energy. I don't want you operating from scarcity energy today. I want you walking in abundance. And when you walk in abundance, the doors will open. Okay. And when I refer you to Equity Trust, I don't get anything out of it, but I tell you what, I get the abundance principle begins to work in my favor, and it will work in yours as well. Okay, so let me make this as big as I can so you can see it. Equity Trust is the company that I have mine with. If you do your research and decide you want to sign on with them, definitely reach out to me so you can get that $50 fee waived. Another good company that I've heard a lot of people in my real estate groups use is Trust EC. I have not used them, but I've got enough people that I've heard that like that I'm very comfortable. Recommending that to you. Okay, so Equity Trust, this is their YouTube channel. Clearly, this is an old one because the crypto. We're going to talk about crypto tomorrow morning, y'all. I hope you're going to be there. But this is they have a wonderful full library of things that you can use to learn about self-directed IRAs. And I would encourage you to go to both companies and look up their education. Okay. Oh my goodness, they have lots of good things here. Wait a second. He's on trustetc.com. Wait a second. He teaches for Equity Trust. Oh yeah, Equity Trust. Never mind. Sorry. Okay, yeah, I'm getting tired, y'all. Okay, so look, if you got questions, start dropping them in the chat because I think we're about done. Now, this is a case study, and I forgot to set it up. I tested this out and it worked, but I remember now, when you set up the slides in StreamYard, you're supposed to have a special setting on the sound. Okay, so I'm not going to play the video for you. You can find it on Equity Trust's thing. It's the 114. Hold on. Yeah, it's the 114. So this one here, you can look for, where'd it go? The 114,000 profit. It's this yellow video here. Okay, we're not going to do that today because it's not working very well. But what I want to tell you about this deal. So in that video, you're going to meet a man who started his self-directed IRA long before he used it. He just kept putting money in it, and he did a few small deals first to kind of earn while he learned. So he just wanted to kind of understand how the process worked and how it worked to use the funds and how these little real estate deals worked. Okay, so he had some experience he was building up. At the same time, he was also building up his savings. And so the experience plus the savings meant that when the deal of the century came along, he was ready to move forward on it. See, a lot of times we as real estate investors, we get so excited about a deal that we just jump on it because we're so excited. We just know we're going to make it work, but we haven't either built up the savings in order to actually execute properly, or built up relationships with others who will JV with us, and they'll partner or collaborate and be able to fund the deal for us. Or we haven't built up the experience. And there's so much trouble I got into, y'all, where I invested in something head up, just whoo, I'm going to do it. I'm going to make it happen. That's my personality. I'm an energetic, I'm going to do it, I'm going to make it happen kind of personality. And well, you know what? That's great because I get a lot done. But sometimes if you don't learn how to connect with mentors, you might get in over your head. And there's a time or two I got in over my head, y'all. But in this case, he had his experience in savings. So this deal of the century came along. He loaned money from his IRA and partnered with his wife's IRA. So remember, that deals have to be at arm's length. He can't pay his wife, but his IRA and her IRA can partner together, get the deal done, and they can profit. In this case, he had multiple exit strategies. And I love the way Sherman Ragland teaches this. He's like, if you've only got one exit strategy, red light, don't do it. If you've got two exit strategies, yellow light, proceed with caution. If you've got three exit strategies, then green light, go for it, right? I love how he teaches that, because it's a way for you to really gauge. A lot of times we think, oh, I'm going to rent this out, I'm going to sell it, I'm going to flip it. And then you buy and you realize your neighborhood was not flipped. You're not flippable. Some neighborhoods are not flippable. Some neighborhoods are buy and hold, and you get in there, you're like, oh, I got my $25,000 house, I'm going to flip this, I'm going to make $75,000 off of it because the market rents are 1,000, and that translates to a for a 10 cap ROI, that translates to $100,000, and I know I can sell this to another investor who will pay $100,000 to make $1,000 a month. Yeah, sure, okay, well that's great, but you know what? Good job trying to find somebody to buy it, because an investor in your neighborhood isn't paying that deal. That's somebody out in California or somewhere where they're used to getting only a 4 cap, right? Okay, we can talk about those things later. Dennis, I'm going to need you to give me some additional detail when you say how much a month for the plans. I'm going to need you to give me some additional detail on which plans you're talking about, okay? Because I want to answer that question. In this particular deal that you'll find if you go to that video on the Equity Trust site, they bought the property for $235K. The sale, they sold it for $235K. They bought it for $100K. They had $18K of closing costs, and it really didn't need a whole lot. Like, it was one of those diamonds in the rough, and it was only $3K of cleanup. So then they had $114,000, and because they did it in their self-directed Roth IRAs, it was a tax-free payday, which means out of that $114,000, they got to keep $114,000. Okay. All right. Oh, I see. I think I see what you mean. Okay, so now the company that I use, they charge an annual fee based on the size of your portfolio. So if you don't have hardly anything, you're just starting out, I think it's like under $100,000 or something like that. It's $350 for the year for them to maintain the account. And that's a self-directed account. Okay. The Roth IRA is a type of IRA that could be self-directed, or it could be in your it could be traditional, and those fees are going to depend on whoever whoever manages that for you. Okay, the self-directed, the company that I use, it's I think it's $250 for low. I think mine went up to $395. I'm like, first I was mad, but then I was like, well, I guess I'm doing something. Oh, anyway, I think it's like $250. I don't know. You have to find out what the current prices are. Okay, but that's going to be company by company dependent. And again, mine is an annual fee. So it's an annual fee. And then you do all the trades and things you want. It gives you a certain amount of trades at no charge. And if you want to expedite it, it has extra fees, but you can do a lot of work without having to pay anything else extra. And what they do is they hold the money for you. So I think it's very reasonably priced. Okay, great question. All right, so we're about to wrap up this. I know that this topic, I know some of you thought that this was going to be a really detailed topic. It's not very detailed. It's basically a type of way to hold your funds for retirement that allow you then to experience tax-free growth, okay? And so the keys, we've heard this a lot about: spend less than you make and invest the rest. And I'm a big fan of start now, because you could start in 5 years, but you've lost 5 years. Now, if you're in debt, look, if you're in debt, I have run through the calculations. There's very few people who are in debt who come out ahead any faster by chasing after these investments than they could have had if they just paid off the debt first. And I even ran the calculations on somebody who had a 401k where they were getting a 4% match. I'm like, you're getting a 4% match from your employer. You're getting a 100% match up to 4% of your paycheck from your employer. But here's how much that is. You're paying 18% a year to your credit card company, and here's your balance. Here's how much that is. So you're not winning by getting the free money. You would win better by taking all that money you're putting to your 401k or your self-directed IRA and paying down that debt. But if you've got that situation that is paid off, then go ahead and start now. Don't be afraid of something that you don't understand. If you are like me and you like to have a little more knowledge before you make a decision, get out there and get the knowledge. Go out there and research it. Go to the real estate investment groups and talk to people who have them and understand some things. Like one of the things that I found out is, I can't just get them to give me cash. And so there's ways around that. And in order to learn the ways around that, you got to talk to people who are doing it. So I want to leave you with some rules of real estate investing. Remember, no matter what vehicle you're using to hold your funds and to purchase through, you always want to make your money when you buy, which means the day you sign on the dotted line, that property is making you money. You've either got it at such a low discount that you can turn around and unload it to another investor in a hurry if you need to, or it's already cash flowing. You're not waiting for appreciation. You're not waiting for rents to return. You're not waiting 10 years for the property to double in value. Okay. You're making money off the bat. The other rule of real estate investing that I like to tell people is that your secret weapons are other investors and the relationships with them that you build, because it's the relationship with other investors that are going to help you learn the tips and tricks of the trade that will keep you from wasting all of your hard-earned money and cash flow profits on trades and on excess fees and on different things that you didn't know about. Okay. So I encourage you that wherever you are, go ahead and start. I tell many of you, a year from now, you'll wish you started today. And it goes along with that adage: when's the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago. When's the second best time to plant a tree? That second best time is today. I want you to get out there and plant that tree and grow your financial legacy. I want to thank you for joining. I don't see a lot of questions in the chat. Let me see if I see any questions in the free conference call. Let's see. I don't see any hands raised on the free conference call. Let me check the Ask JJC. I totally forgot to pull that up before we got started. Let me check that real quick. AskJJC.com. And let's see what questions we have today. Ooh, I love all those questions. I love seeing all those questions come in. Let me just review them real quick and see if they have to do with today's topic. Because if you have a question you want me to answer on the Wealth Building Wednesdays or the Empowered Entrepreneur, which will be next week, make sure that you drop them in there. Okay, these are all finance questions. These are not real estate questions, so I'm not going to answer them today. But if you do have questions and you think of them from time to time, you don't have to wait till I'm live. Pop them in there, and then when I get to the appropriate topic, then I'll answer the question. Okay. All right. Well, I want to appreciate y'all for being here today. I know I'm competing against a very important game. And I hope that you will take these words to heart. Even if you don't feel like you have the money right now to start investing in real estate, there's ways to invest in real estate and to generate funds rather than spending them. And even if you don't feel like you have the money to start with a self-directed IRA today, because it does cost a little bit to set up the account, no matter where you feel like you're starting from today, the most important thing is that you get started. And if you feel like you're not where you want to be, then find what you need to learn or do in order to get where you need to be able to move forward. Don't be like the gentleman I met in my very first real estate investment class. He had spent over $80,000 on his real estate education. And I asked him, wow, that's impressive. How many properties do you have? And he said, no, I don't have any properties yet, but I'm going to buy the class that they're selling today. And this should be the one that helps me to get my first deal done. Y'all, with $80,000 back then, he could have had 3 or 4 deals done in Baltimore. And he could have learned through experience and through other investors helping him get through his first couple of deals. It is absolutely possible for you to build wealth and to change your life and to change your family's financial future. It just begins with taking a first step. And that first step was being here with me today. And that second step is to move forward tomorrow. For those of you who are just joining us, I'm JJ Conway. I want to thank you for being here. If you've enjoyed this today, send me $1, $5, $500 to paypal.me, Queen of Cashflow, or you can Cash App Queen of Cashflow for this is our fundraiser for our Global Youth Initiative. Every third Thursday, we do Real Estate Investing 101, and it is a fundraiser, so I encourage you to donate. The other things that we do on Thursdays, every first Thursday, is our Fireside Chat, where I answer your money questions with hopefully style and grace. Although lately I've been more persnickety instead of gracious. But so every second Thursday is our 7-figure business building, where we give you business tips and tricks to help you succeed with working smarter, not harder. And then every third Thursday is our Real Estate Investing 101. Every fourth Thursday is the empowered entrepreneur. So this is where we really get at what's getting you, and we really elevate your mindset. So I hope you'll join me with that next week. Now, look, before I go, I know some of you are, I know some of you are really, some of you, I just appreciate you being here. Some of you have been looking forward to tomorrow morning for a while. And I had to adjust my Juneteenth conference. Those of you who bought tickets, you understand that, because we've been make sure we gave everybody back their money that bought tickets. And we are doing a free Let's Talk About It event tomorrow morning. And in this free Let's Talk About It event, I've got some amazing speakers who are going to form our panels. We're going to be talking about mental health. We're going to talk about education. We're going to be talking about relationships. We're going to be talking about toxic work centers. We're going to be talking about crypto. Yes, y'all, we going there. We're going to talk about crypto, and we're going to talk about wealth management. And it all happens tomorrow morning. And not only do I have these expert panels, but if you as the audience want to get in behind the scenes and get on the screen, I'm going to give you that opportunity. Oh, it should be a good time. You can join me at 10 Central tomorrow morning. That's 10 Central. We're going to go from 10 Central to noon Central tomorrow, 17 June, in celebration of Juneteenth, which happens this Sunday. All right, that's all I got for you today. Y'all take care and be blessed.